Here we are,
Yeah.
Sifters. Yeah, just bring back any memories. You must come in here all the time.
Yeah.
Even these days.
I have to say, this shop has not changed a bit. I bought a lot of my records from here. You know, this is where I discovered my love of best-ofs.
Find the best-ofs, that's pretty key to what we talk about here, which it definitely may be, because your musical education is actually the greatest hits. So, in a weird way, you end up making a greatest hits record.
Yeah. Well, the reasoning behind it was you'd read something in a music magazine, you know, you suddenly work out, well, this has got all the hits on it. And that was my gateway into the Beatles, was like the red and the blue ones. His best-ofs have all the good stuff on, but all the cool stuff is on the album. I still like and play them all the time.
I mean, as a kid, coming in here, getting those records, did you have any notion that you would eventually be somebody who could play and write songs?
No, I always... Because I loved music so much and was really into it and was determined to learn how to play the guitar, I always thought that's how I'd end up, or that's the only thing I was interested in. But when I met Graham Lambert from the Inspirals and I got that job as on the roadie, I thought, oh, that's it. This is it, you know. And that would have done me. And then it was only through Liam getting together with Bonehead that they asked me that I kind of joined. And then when I joined, obviously, it was just ambition took over then. And in fact, it was only when, I think it was like second rehearsal with Oasis, our kids said, yeah, you've got some tunes. So I was just like, right, if I play this, you play that, and you play that. And once everybody joined in, the fucking bomb went off, and I was like, fucking hell, this is amazing. It was difficult in the early 80s because I couldn't get a job, you know, so music was the only way that it was going to be, you know. The one thing that could get us out of the situation we're in, it worked, you know, unbelievable. I mean, there was good tunes and good bands, but the Roses had disappeared, the Mondays had fallen apart. There was nothing that was inspiring everyone.
But they weren't looking up here, were they? Because I remember a great quote you gave me once. You said, they set the stage for Britpop and Blur, and then we turned up and they never forgave us.
Well, yeah. Well, they expected somebody to walk out, you know, with a girl's blouse on and start singing. And we all walked out going, all right, no beds. You know, and they were like, oh, fucking hell. But without sounding too corny, it was a band that was made by the people. You know,
it's actually what people did want instead of what people thought people wanted.
Well, I have this argument all the time. To say to somebody in 1993, where's guitar music going? They're not going to go, right, we want this fucking band from Manchester with a fucking singer who's 19, right, Larry, he's writing the songs, he's ripping off everybody who's fucking dead. The other three lads look like plumbers, you know, but it's, you know, you couldn't invent it, you know, so, yeah, who knew, you know, who knew? The good thing about Oasis is the songs were all inclusive. They weren't elitist in any way. A lot of that for me came from Acid House, right, it's the communal feeling of everybody together and that anthemic thing that I got from that, which I fucking loved, you know, and...
Were you aware of that process of doing the demos in Liverpool, building up to recording the album?
No, I'm not sure I was aware of it then. I'm not sure it's something that I wanted to do. It's just, it was a profound thing that happened. And yeah, and it seeped into my music, yeah.
So when you get to Monnow Valley, you played a few gigs. You haven't played a lot, have you, at that point?
I don't think so, no. I think we played maybe 14, 15.
It's quite early to go and make a record, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and I suppose...
You rehearsed a lot.
We did rehearse a lot. I think we'd rehearsed more than we'd done shows. But even now, when I hear the Monnow Valley stuff, it wasn't it. Obviously, because I'm the songwriter, and I'm thinking it sounds great. And all the band are thinking it sounds great. And then, thankfully, there's people who stood out front and watched us and were saying, that's not it. And I couldn't work out why, you know.
So in a way, was Monnow Valley your demos?
Well, yeah. But it's funny because I never heard that Monnow Valley record until 6 months ago. So it wasn't like we referenced it and said, right, this is what we don't want to do. You know, it was canned, and the tapes went off to creation, and that was it. We've never seen them again. But we've uncovered it now, and listening back to it and looking at some of the pictures, we didn't have the equipment, we didn't have the Marshalls. At Monnow Valley, I had a Vox AC30 and a H&H amp, I don't know why. And then, by the time I got Sawmills, I had a Marshall and a fucking Wem Dominator. That's the sound, you know.
I mean, going back and remixing it, and what did you find in there to make it actually improve it, or...?
How this all came about was I was saying, there's no fucking way that's gone missing. It must be somewhere. Turns out it was mislabeled. It doesn't say Monnow Valley, it says something else. What I found listening to it was, it's not very loose. It's kind of, we were all in different rooms recording it. But the songs are still great. I think we were, you know, when you hear Up in the Sky from Monnow Valley, there's loads of backing vocals on it and it sounds like the Beatles and all that. And that's not what we sounded like on stage. I think it's just a first attempt and then not really knowing what you do. It's like having sex for the first time. You know you've got to do it.
So you're fumbling in the studio.
Yeah, you're kind of like, was that any good? You know, were you happy? You know.
I was reading that thing that Bonehead said, you get the bone to the track down, and then you just overdub mercilessly on top.
Yeah. You know, when you make your first record, you're just like, how many channels are on this desk? It's like, there's 36. It's like, right, fucking hell, I've got another 34 guitar bits. We were just having fun, do you know what I mean? It's all there, it's just, it's missing that thing. And that thing was playing live together.
It does seem crazy to have a rock and roll band not recording in a room together, because that is the magic, isn't it?
I guess Dave Batchelor, that's the way he'd always done it.
It's the 70s way,
Yeah. So there was, as you've been in studios yourself, there's like, you know, the big room and then there's booths off the side and the drums are in the middle of the room and then your amp's in there and your amp's in there. Of course, that's how we thought records were made. Somebody's sending you to a studio with an adult, you know, and they're telling you what to do and all you've got to do is play the songs. But when you hear the Monnow Valley stuff, it's not got a swagger to it. And it's, then when you go on to the sawmills, when you can see we've done another 20 gigs in between and we've arrived somewhere. It was too early to make that record. But I think McGee wanted to get it in and get it out because his famous quote was, I reckon if we can get this album out before the Stone Roses come back, we'll sell 50,000.
He's half right.
Yeah. And thank God McGee and Marcus, our manager, had the wherewithal to say, you can't put that out. And I remember being really frustrated at the time, thinking, I just want to get it out, you know. Thankfully, we eventually got it right.
Is it my imagination, or have I finally found something worth living for?
The Sawmills, you're all playing in the same room together, but how does that work? What's the dynamic?
So we're in the room together. Liam is in there's one booth in Sawmills, it's a vocal booth. So the rest of the band are all, and the equipment is all in the same room. We knew all the songs backwards. As I remember, we did 3 takes, and then we sat and had a cup of tea, sat and listened to them and said, that's the one we're going to pick to overdub. So the outtakes from Sawmills on the new record, they haven't got any overdubs because we picked that version and that was it. And there's a great version of Cigarettes and Alcohol, which is just slightly a little bit slower and a bit more sludgy, and it's fascinating for fans. I think Coyley came up with the idea. He said, you should all be playing. I think one of the original ideas was to play on stage and record it somewhere, do you know what I mean?
That's too far the other way.
Yeah. But I think it was Mark's idea. And he was our sound guy, and he was going to oversee it all, and that was it. The playing of the songs was easy. Yeah, in those outtakes, there's a few bum notes, and that's why the outtakes would have got ditched. And then there's a couple of songs that don't end in the right place, and there's a false start. But we had it pretty nailed. You know, the parts never really were worked on in the studio. We had them already. And then maybe I would fuck around and do whatever I would do to fill up the tracks. And then Owen, when he mixed it, binned it all.
Yeah, well, this is the other part, isn't it? Because if it felt right in Sawmills, it still wasn't the right version, was it?
Yeah, well, then we took it back to London to mix. We were mixing it in...
Olympic.
Yeah. We were there, and then we went over to see McGee. We had, I think it was like Columbia and something else we had a cassette of it. And I thought this sounded great, right? And the minute it came, we put it on in his flat, and the minute it came on, it sounded fucking shit. And he said, this is not it. And at that point, I started to get really fucking frustrated. I was like, well, what does everybody fucking want? And then, because Marcus was managing Johnny Marr at the time, Marcus had played it to Johnny, who played it to Owen, and Owen said, I'll have a go. And I think he mixed one tune. We were on tour, a cassette arrived, and we stuck it on in the van, sure it was cigarettes and alcohol, and it was fucking amazing. And that was it.
Isn't that the best feeling in the
Yeah,
world?
yeah, that's it. It's just, it was such a relief. It was like, like fucking thank God for that. And he didn't want to re-record anything. I think the only thing we did is we had to change the second verse of Shaker Maker.
Oh, because the lyrics.
Yeah, and right outside this door is where the verse was written. They'd been picked up and going to Johnny's house. Johnny had a little studio in his basement. We were going to do this fucking second verse, and of course, everyone's like, "You've written the second verse," and I was like, "Don't worry about it. You've written the second verse. Don't worry about going out and getting fucking hammered." And then it comes to the morning. Have you written the second verse? And I was like, "Yes." And honestly, we stopped at the traffic lights there where those cars are stopped, and that's where the thing stops at the traffic lights only when they're
Blue
green.
plaque.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. People don't believe that, but that's what happened. I came up with it in the back of the car. If only you could fucking capture that shit in a bottle and...
Well, that's what you did in the album.
Yeah, they're kind of timeless, do you know what I mean? Because they come from a place of truth, you know, and a place of...
With no filter.
Yeah, you're not overthinking
Yeah.
it. It's coming from somewhere that's real. You know, and every time I hear Shaker Maker, I remember pulling up there in that car and looking over, seeing the song, and I was like...
Is that the one you wrote on Johnny's guitar he gave you?
No, that's Slide Away.
Yeah.
When I went back to Monnow Valley, I went back down there and I went into the room where I wrote it, and it's such an uninspiring fucking room. It's like it's nothing. I don't know if I was expecting to open the door and, you know, going into...
Music came out.
And, but yeah, he sent down this Les Paul, because I didn't have one at the time, and yeah, just opened it and Slide Away came out. Yeah, it's just...
The first thing you played on it?
The first thing I played... I mean, I played it, and then we demoed it in Monnow Valley, and yeah, and that's the version that's on Definitely Maybe. You think that's...
Because that's the one that survived.
Well, it's another thing that I didn't realise. We only did 8 songs in Monnow Valley, maybe only 7, because we already had Supersonic, we already had Slide Away, Married with Children was done in Coyley's bedroom, Sad Song was done in Coyley's bedroom, so we only did 8 tunes there. Because when I got the tapes, I was like, well, where's fucking such and such? But we did do another version of Slide Away, but it's not as good as the first time you play it. It'd be like re-recording Supersonic.
So why did that work?
There's something in the air that night that's happening, and you know, you're not overthinking the song. It's like, right, it goes like this, you played that, I played that, right, let's go. So everyone's kind of not thinking about, oh, maybe I'll put a little thing there, or maybe I'll do a bit of that, maybe just put a key, you know. So it's coming from a place of truth, lyrical truth.
He was quite amazed that Liam could do the vocals in 1 or 2 takes.
He would pick it up really fucking quickly.
That meant a lot. I mean, most singers, that's like a month at the end to get the vocals done, isn't it? You just hand him the lyrics and say it goes like this.
We'd run through the song, I'd sing it, he'd sit there with the words, and then he'd pick it up really quickly. I mean, it's not fucking high-speed jazz. You know, it's not art rock.
But still, to get it right, I think it's quite difficult. Even a simple melody is hard to get the feel, the melody, the enunciation of the words as well.
He always was great at picking things up, and you wouldn't have to talk him through anything. When people listen to the new old versions, he's like singing the falsetto on Columbia. I don't think he ever sang the falsetto after the day he fucking sang it.
Well, he's a brilliant singer.
Yeah.
He's one of the great rock and roll singers.
Yeah, he's got a great tone. What I always liked about it in the studio was you didn't have to fuck around with it. He would always want this John Lennon thing, always. Make it sound like, I'd be like, you don't need it. You know, it's just like, it's fucking...
John Lennon didn't need it.
Yeah, I know.
Did you coach him at all? Was it you saying never. Lennon, Rotten, crossover? Did he just find it all himself?
Alan McGee, I do remember the one night we were doing Cigarettes and Alcohol for I think it might have been in Manchester, in the radio station. And he did the Sunshine for the first time. And McGee said, sounds like Johnny Rotten, it's fucking great. And Our kid went, oh, God, right, well, that's it then. Forevermore, you know.
So from a week, it's on every single line.
Everything was...
But it's such a trademark part of the sound, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course. What he did was inspire the kids at the front to do something, do you know what I mean? And if he can do it, I can do it. And he's still doing that now.
He's a brilliant rock and roll star.
Yeah.
Funny how you all come out of the same house.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I was dropping them on, fucking up the wall. I would say to her, what was it like? You know, she was like, fuck, it was bad when you left home.
So was it your concept then to do the empty room?
My idea was shoot the empty studios because the ghosts of the past are in there, do you know what I mean? When we went back to Sawmills, I mean, I'd been back there once. I hadn't been to Monnow Valley since the day we left. And I can vividly remember being in Sawmills and where I was stood and where my amps were set up and all that.
Is it still a studio, Sawmill?
Yeah, the mixing desk is still in there, yeah. I was saying to the guy, the studio said, yeah, we had a Japanese band here weeks ago. And I said, what were they doing? He said, they were doing Definitely Maybe.
They beat you to it.
Yeah, they were just fucking coming and re-record.
You can't get the mix right.
Yeah, he said, oh, we get loads of bands down here. All they do is re-recording your stuff. I'm like, fucking hell.
So what was it like? Did you get a little kind of weird little shiver when you went back in there?
Not really. It's good to go back and think, you know, because now you're in state-of-the-art studios and fucking that. It's real basic fucking shit. It's tiny studio. It's not even... The live room's not even as big as this, you know, it's small. So it was good to go back and go, fucking hell, you know. And it's funny because what we were saying before about recording in the same room together, we've tried that. And I've tried that with I Flying Birds, and Oasis tried it. And it never just sounded... And it's just the songs... You know, we tried to do it with Morning Glory. And the only thing we did live in the room together was roll with it. And after that, it just didn't work. The songs had become a bit more complicated. So, yeah, it was just that moment in time where it was, you know, we're going to do it.
Small room, but the right songs.
I think...
Yeah, and you're still a garage band.
Yeah, I think the right songs are the key, you know, and... Yeah, and it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, head down, fucking off you go, you know. And listening to the masters, you know, you put up any mic on the drum kit and you can hear the entire band. You know, that's the sound.
And you go right back to that moment in time.
Yeah. I was expecting there to be a lot of studio chat, and I was thinking this is going to be great for fans. We're going to be talking off. None of it. We were very fucking. You listen to the tapes and it's silent. You can hear Mark Coyle saying, "Right, we're rolling."
Oh, it's rolling.
It was very, very professional, and we were just banging it out. I mean, you know, we didn't have a lot of time, and it was the second time we did it, so we were there not to fuck around. But I thought we'd be a bit more, well, you know, like when you hear the Beatles and like, hey, Paul, what about fucking man? None of it at all. I think Liam was blowing a kazoo during fucking one of the takes of Rock and Roll Star.
Oh, because he wanted to play kazoo on the record, didn't
he? Wanted to play kazoo on the record, yeah. And it was at that point I thought, he might be mad.
Yeah, you need a little bit of madness.
There's a bit at the end where it goes to the down, 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 and he kept going. It's off like fucking Wacky Races, and I was like, fucking hell, man. Does he get this or what?
So you have to re-record it.
Well, no. Luckily, he was in an isolation booth on his own, so he overdubbed the vocals. He was like.
So how did you decide who sang which song?
I didn't fancy it at the beginning. I'd like to think I was clever enough to say we should have 2 frontmen, but I wasn't. But in hindsight, it was fucking great. How it would work would be he would sing them all, and then I'd be like, maybe not getting that one. Maybe I'll try that one.
I mean, do you think your voice brings a different flavour to the song?
Of course.
Yeah.
One of the great things about Oasis gigs would be after 40 minutes, it would all kind of calm down, and I'd sing Talk Tonight and Half the World Away. And they're no lesser songs, you know, they're fucking amazing songs, and they're communal anthems. Everybody would take a breath.
But I want to talk tonight until the morning light.
And then you go again, you know, so...
They're harder to do.
Yeah,
from a massive audience,
just
want to riot.
Well, I used to balk at playing an acoustic guitar. We never did Wonderwall with an acoustic guitar because I just thought, I'm not playing it in a fucking field. It's ridiculous. You know? And in fact, not playing it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know. And
do you think your voice brings a sensitivity to the songs or a different kind of sensitivity?
Well, it's got something else. I think it's a bit more. If songs were drinks, right? Liam's is a shot of tequila, right? And mine's half a Guinness. Right? Mine's half a Guinness on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's all right. Liam's is 10 shots of tequila on a fucking Friday night.
And you should never mix those two.
No. No. See, I can't sing Slide Away and Cigarettes and Alcohol and Rock and Roll Star and Columbia and all that. I mean, I can do it, right? But it's not the same.
He adds something to it.
Yeah, well, yes. It's the delivery or the tone of his voice and the attitude. I don't have the same attitude as him. The only time we ever had a thing was when we were doing Morning Glory and it was Wonderwall and Don't Look Back in Anger, and I said, I'm singing one of them. You take your pick. And he hated Wonderwall. I wanted to sing Don't Look Back in Anger, but then someone from Creation came down and said, that's going to be a worldwide hit. And he went, I do like it, actually. I think I do like it.
I think and also you got that the right way round.
Of course,
Yeah,
of course.
So that's his creativity, sort of adding something into what...
Well, listen, the voice is an instrument. And it's the same thing with the Bee Gees. When you get two brothers singing together, it's something that you can't, it's unique, you know. Yeah, back in the early 90s, it's fucking amazing. You know, amazing.
If you don't get yours, I won't get mine as well. Thank you very much.
So what are your memories of writing Sad Song and recording in the first place?
Sad Song, I've had it a few times. Back in the day, with all different formats, we need one more song. It's a song about Manchester. It was an old song. It wasn't like one I wrote on the day. Mark Coyle had a little 8-track in his bedroom, and then we went and did it, and then, you know, you kind of take a step back and listen to it and go, actually, that's pretty fucking good.
Where we're living in this town.
But I'd forgotten completely about this, but there's the version that's coming out now on the record has got Liam singing it, and I have no recollection. I can only think that we must have done the version with me singing it, and then got Liam down, and then gone, yeah. Or Liam sang it first, and I went, yeah. You know, so that can only be it. I'm not sure.
I mean, when you listen to it, we talked about that before, but how much does his voice or your voice actually change, like the new ones of the song?
For example, when we did the night we did Supersonic, I sing Supersonic with the same melody, the same words, the same inflections, but when he sings it, it's a bit more menacing. I think one of the great things about that period of Oasis was there was these uplifting tunes with almost romantic lyrics, but with a really menacing fucking delivery, do you know what I mean? I think it was like that kind of thing what made it special. It's difficult to explain. When I would sing a song, it would sound good. When he would sing it, it would sound great.
And with Sad Song, is that a different kind of... Is that an exception to the rule, or a different
Yeah, well,
thing?
yeah, because it's not... Liam's a great rocker, right?
It's a more introspective song.
Yeah.
Sing a sad song in a lonely place. Try to put a word in for me. It's been so long since I found a space. You better put in 2 or 3.
My strength was always a bit less of the big production, more kind of laid back.
Our heads are firmly fixed in the ground.
On the B-side of Supersonic, I had that song Take Me Away. He was like, he wouldn't sing acoustic songs. He just wasn't having it. He sings at 10. He sings between 9 and 10 all the fucking time. You know, which in the case of Definitely Maybe, that's what you want.
I'm feeling supersonic. Give me gin and tonic. You can have it all, but how much do you want it? You make me laugh.
But after Definitely Maybe, you start playing out in Europe. And what was that like, the initial reaction?
You know, you're playing around England and you're singing in your own language and all that, and people that you relate to and relate to you. And then you're going to Paris and everyone's getting it, you know what I mean? But it's when we got to Japan, cigarettes and alcohol. Really? The kids hang out in parks drinking cider in Tokyo? I don't know. But again, it's got to be the melodies or something. There's just something, I don't know. Looking back on it now, and even in America, do you know what I mean? It's like we hit it off pretty quickly. It's got to be magic. That's all it can be. You can't say, well, it's because of... We never had a particularly big hit in America until Wonderwall. We never had a big hit in Europe. People were coming to us. We weren't ramming it down people's throats. So it has to be the music. It just has to be.
It's gone through the generations, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Are you kind of aware that somehow, despite what the press like to say, that Oasis actually a band that's relevant to 14, 15-year-old now?
Well, there was a point, I think it was like 2005, is when I first noticed it. And we walked out on stage and I was like, fuck, holy shit, it's all kids. They're getting passed down from the big brother, from their uncle, do you know what I mean? Obviously, you can't see the band anymore. I suppose there's YouTube and all that. But the songs are timeless, and they deal with universal truths. Cigarettes and alcohol applies to every young kid, even now, do you know what I mean? Most of the songs that I sing from the Oasis catalogue are all B-sides or album tracks, and fucking hell, the place goes mental. All over the world. South Koreans, fucking, you know, I went to South Korea last November. I played to like 25,000 people over 4 nights in Seoul. And, you know, there's kids crying every night, so little by little, and don't look back in anger, and half the world away and talk tonight. And why it connected, I don't know. But fucking me, it did. It's fucking amazing that you write these songs in India House. You know, and 25 years later, you're walking out to a sold-out 90,000, and they know all the words. It's like, isn't music just the fucking most incredible thing? I always used to say to journalists, how do you sum up Oasis? And I'd always say, let it go away first and I'll be able to think about it and I'll be able to sum it up. I still can't. Whoever threw the ingredient in the fucking mix that split the atom, that's it. It was just a perfect combination of my influences, Liam's attitude, the solidity of the band, something bangs there, you know. Sony didn't decide that Oasis would still be going after 30 years. Grayson didn't decide. I didn't decide it, neither did Liam. The fucking people decided.